It is a case that gripped the attention of central Indiana almost 30 years ago. Thousands of human remains found on Herb Baumeister's property in Westfield, where police say he killed about 24 men. Many of those remains have never been identified. Our Emily Longnecker tonight explains how those victims are now being honored.
The story of what police believe happened on this Westfield property decades ago is the stuff of nightmares. Men killed and buried by a suspected serial killer on 18 acres behind his home. Their remains finally discovered by police in the mid-90s. To date, police know there are at least 13 victims. Only 9, though, have been identified from the thousands of bones and bone fragments recovered. Some of them returned to their families.
These people were placed on a shelf 26 years ago and were forgotten.
Now Hamilton County Coroner Jeff Jellison and He Knows Your Name Ministries are writing a new chapter to a painful story for the victims' families and this community.
It is time for us to help bring closure to humbly saying the names of each and every one of the identified victims. Every one of their lives matter.
Linda Zanacco founded He Knows Your Name Ministries and has helped bury unclaimed babies and adults in Marion County for the past 15 years. Now she's partnering with Jellison to honor the victims of Fox Hollow Farm, giving them a final resting place with a memorial and burial site here at Hamilton Memorial Park Cemetery in Westfield.
We hope that we can identify future victims, right? We must get them off a shelf. They cannot be stored any longer.
Police suspect the remains of at least 24 victims were buried at Fox Hollow Farm, and if more are identified, their names will be added to the memorial here at the cemetery, and if the families want, their remains will also be buried here with the other victims.
To continue identifying those remains, the Hamilton County Coroner is making the same plea he did 2 years ago when he reopened the case. He's calling on families who have male loved ones missing from the mid-80s to mid-90s to submit DNA samples to see if they match any of the unclaimed remains at UIndy.
That is where most of these identifications will take place.
But the process isn't an overnight one. Discovering the truth takes time, and the journey to find it only ends when all of the victims are finally home. In Westfield, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
The memorial to the Fox Hollow victims will be dedicated next Thursday at 10 a.m. at Hamilton Memorial Park Cemetery in Westfield.